Justice League Dark is an entertaining celebration of the supernatural elements from DC. It is evidently violent, frighteningly disturbing, and accurately dwells in the mystical realm despite being burdened by an exceedingly intricate plot while rapidly providing different introductions for each of the characters. It is a magical adventure that gives some of the obscure heroes of DC a chance to shine in a story that wrinkles in mystery and mythology. All these while keeping in touch with the ideals of heroism. Welcome to DCness, and this is the magical review of the Justice League Dark movie of 2017. Unlike Superman, Wonder Woman, and the usual members of the Justice League, the characters of Justice League Dark are grounded and exuberating with different flaws and dysfunctionality. They don't pretend to get along, and they don't pretend to be self-sacrificing. But they do know when it's time to get their hands dirty. The movie tends to be quite confounding at times, but the overall feel gave a satisfying result to the viewers. However, the more fascinating part about this movie are the magical scenes that caught the attention of the witchcraft fans of Constantine, as the movie gave mesmerizing animations for each. These magical scenes have reminded the viewers of some of the ancient mythological items or charms found through archaeological findings or mentioned in old literatures. So, without further ado, let's now discuss the historical associations of these magical events in the Justice League Dark movie. First is the House of Mystery. Although this house reminded the viewers of the time-traveling house of the Japanese animated series Flying House, produced by Tatsunoko Production in 1982, John Constantine's House of Mystery could have originated or inspired by the miraculous Flying House of Loreto. The Flying House of Loreto is believed to be the original residence of the Virgin Mary. Made from humble mud brick structures, the house was believed to have been flown by the angels in the year 1295 from Nazareth to Tersato in Croatia, then to Recanati in Macerata, Italy, and then to its final and current place in Loreto, Italy, which is near the Adriatic Sea. The stories that circulated in the 13th century was that the local villagers of Loreto perceived that the house arrived in one evening from the sky. They found the Virgin Mary inside the house, who explained that the angels transported the house to avoid Muslim invaders in Nazareth. The Flying House of Loreto is now enshrined within the Basilica della Santa Casa in Marche, Italy, and is a well-known site for the Marian pilgrimage. Next is the Flaming Sword of Etrigan. Mentioned in the medieval documents of the Welsh Triads and the Mabinogion, Dyrnwyn or White Hilt was a formidable sword belonging to Rhydderch Hall or Rhydderch the Generous, one of the three generous men of Britain of the Welsh mythology. Dyrnwyn is known to blaze with fire when drawn. If a worthy man uses it, the fire will help him in his battle. However, if the man who wields it will use it for an unworthy purpose, its fire will burn that man. Dyrnwyn is also known to be one of the 13 treasures of Britain. It is sometimes denoted as Dyrnwyn Gledif Rhydderch Hall or Dyrnwyn the Sword of Rhydderch. Third is Constantine's Book of Magic or Book of Spells, or what is more fittingly known as the Grimoire. A grimoire is a textbook of magical spells and charms, typically comprising of instructions on how to perform magical spells, charms, and divinations, how to design and create magical objects like amulets and talismans, and how to invoke or summon supernatural beings such as deities, angels, spirits, and demons. In many beliefs, the book themselves are thought to be imbued with magical capabilities, similar to the belief of the Bible having intrinsic supernatural properties. A grimoire is quite different from a book of shadows, as the book of shadows is mostly personal in nature with personal notes inside. The first known form of a grimoire is from the ancient Mesopotamian civilization, possibly from the 5th and 4th centuries BCE, who used cuneiform clay tablets to inscribe their incantations. Ancient Egyptians also inscribed their incantations on amulets and other items. The Library of Alexandria during the Hellenistic Egyptian period is also believed to have housed scrolls about magic. In the Jewish history, the 8th Book of Moses is believed to contain spells to invoke gods and demons. In early Christianity, Many evidences were found in the Book of Enoch of the Dead Sea Scrolls to be used by the Gnostic sects as a grimoire about astrology and angels.
Looking for this or this?
Next is Felix Faust's Book of Shadows. While a grimoire is like a textbook reference material for witches, a Book of Shadows is more of like a diary. It also contains magical spells and charms like the grimoire, but the written spells here are tried and tested by the owner from their own experiences. In the Wiccan tradition, specifically from the Bricket Wood Coven, a Book of Shadows is considered a personal cookbook of spells.
Love us. Bring your powers to We Sisters 3. It's a book of witchcraft.
Fifth is the conjuring of the hurricane that broke the Batmobile, or weather manipulation through magic. In medieval folklore, weather-making magicians called tempestari possess the power to produce or prevent storms at will. Agobard of Lyon wrote an essay in 815 AD called On Hail and Thunder about the fallacies of weather magicians. The belief on tempestari before that was very widespread that Charlemagne outlawed weather magic in 789 AD, and numerous churches launched a campaign to stop it. During the witch hunt era, tempestarius are believed to also cause tempests, lightnings, and hailstorms. Church authorities also believe in their existence as an act of God who gave this power to the devil and witches to punish the wicked population. The most famous record of weather magic was during the trial of the North Berwick witches in 1590, where a number of people from East Lothian, Scotland, were accused of conjuring a sea storm that endangered the voyage of King James VI and Queen Anne from Copenhagen, Denmark to Scotland. Six is Boston Brand, a ghost known as Deadman who has the ability to possess humans. Spirit possession is a common belief in many major religions and cultures, including Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. Spirit possession is when spirits, demons, or deities have taken control of the human body, causing them to act in certain ways. Depending on the cultural framework in which it is believed, possession may be deemed voluntary or involuntary and may have been contemplated to have beneficial or unfavorable effects on the host. Dogmas of the Roman Catholic suggests that angels are spiritual, non-corporeal who are intelligent and guided by the righteous will. On the other hand, demons or fallen angels are able to demonically possess human beings without their knowledge or consent, leaving them ethically blameless. In Jewish folklore, a dibuk is a ghostly spirit that wanders restlessly until it inhabits the body of a living human being. Similarly, Wiccans believe in voluntary possession by the goddess, associated with the revered ceremony of drawing down of the moon.
Smile pretty, big prick.
Seventh is levitation, which is the rising of the human body and other objects into the air in the paranormal framework by mystical means or meditation. Some religious fanatics interpret assumed instances of levitation as the result of supernatural activities of spiritual energy or psychic powers. Early Christianity provides many records of different saints who have levitated in biblical history and religious texts such as Saint Martin de Porres, Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint Francis of Assisi, Padre Pio, and even Jesus Christ walking on water, which is said to be a form of levitation. Eight is Felix Faust's silencing charm against Zatanna. In 2017, news broke out in East London about a Ugandan woman who was accused of female genital mutilation of her 3-year-old daughter. The 3-year-old daughter claimed that a witch had cut her between the legs while her parents held her down. Some weeks later, when the police searched their house, they found evidences that the parents were practicing witchcraft to silence anyone involved in the case. They found cow tongues pierced with nails wrapped with a paper with the written name of the family services lawyer, papers bundled with chili and candle wax, and 40 pieces of limes in a freezer containing papers with the names of officers, prosecutors, and social workers. These papers also contain a spell that read, "I freeze your mouth, I make your life bitter, shut up, stay away from me, I freeze you out of my life." Many occult beliefs in Europe and the Americas have their roots from African societies. The practice of ritual killing, human sacrifices, and other forms of witchcraft are still apparent in sub-Saharan Africa.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My honey fell on you, and it was strong. So strong.
Ninth is scrying, also known by various names such as peeping or seeing. Scrying is the practice of looking into an appropriate medium with the purpose of detecting momentous messages or visions. It is sometimes used to see other people's memories or dreams. Scrying has been practiced in many cultures and religions in the belief that it can uncover the past, present, or future. Sometimes a person is called a seer when they can see into the different times and spaces. Seers or practitioners of scrying establish that the visions they see come from the subconscious mind or imagination, while others say they came from spirits, gods, or the psychic mind.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
Lastly are the shroud spirits of death. In some folklores, this is known as the Grim Reaper, who collects the soul of a person who just died and escorts him or her to the afterlife. In ancient Greek religion, the Grim Reaper is known as Thanatos, who takes the soul to river Styx before going to Hades. In Irish mythology, it is known as Dullahan, while in the Scottish folklore, it is known as Sioseth.
This one has cheated us many times. It is vexing.
Boo.
Overall, the Justice League Dark movie is simply a magical carpet ride that remained connected to the wizarding customs of our societies. Voice acting was wonderful and consistent with each character. Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Cyborg take the back seat and allowed Constantine, Etrigan, Zatanna, Deadman, and Swamp Thing become the main protagonists, while being shamelessly bitter and imperfect. What is remarkable here is the almost perfect pairing of John Constantine and Batman. The two have very dissimilar characteristics, and it gave powerful dynamism to their partnership. Batman, a hero who abhors killing and not at all impressed by magic, and Constantine, a selfish conman who is very good at magic and definitely hated by his friends. Together, the two blended well to make the conflicts of the story more engaging and spellbinding.